Howdy folks, Happy New Year, it's 2019. It's a brisk January 25th, 2019, and we decided that this year, with our following the garden episodes, that sort of thing, anything we do gardening related, be it the vegetable gardens or just planting in general, other kinds of plants, flowers and such, that we're going to include that in the series. So this will be episode 1. If you've followed at all on Farmer Brown's Paradise, you know that between our two main garden beds here, we have these 3 arches. Well, I planted climbing roses on either side of the arches about 4 years ago. These climbing roses, the varieties that I chose, were not really the right ones. I didn't do enough research. I was looking more for pretty and not necessarily something that would be disease resistant. Every year they have gotten black spot. They just haven't done well. So now, after having done my research, I have ordered, and they've come in, some what they call rambler roses. The difference between climbing roses and ramblers, one thing is that you really don't have to prune ramblers, which that's nice. And usually ramblers only bloom once. Well, I didn't want that. I want them to be repeat bloomers. I found a company, David Austin Roses. He's out of Canada. Anyway, he has so many beautiful roses, and they have created a rambler that is a repeat bloomer, and that's what I've ordered. So these have all got to be transplanted. So the first step, I'm going to transplant them as a Bareroot, since we're still in winter and it's cold. I can do that, and that will be easier than trying to keep a lot of the dirt around it. So I'm going to show you how you're supposed to trim when you want to transplant a rose as a Bareroot. When you're transplanting roses as a Bareroot tree, bush, the first thing you need to do is prune the canes. You're going to want them, you're going to end up wanting the canes above the ground to be about the same height as the roots below the ground. So first off, just to make it more manageable before I actually dig it up, I'm going to come in and cut the canes at about 2 feet. Here in Alabama, we also have a huge problem. Every June, into May, June, for about a month, we have a problem with Japanese beetles, and Japanese beetles love roses. And the first year that I had planted them, we noticed the Japanese beetles were just all over them. Even when we would spray with neem on the roses, they're not supposed to like the flavor of neem. They still got on it, still were eating them. So I started doing some more research, and I read that garlic is supposed to deter Japanese beetles. And a friend of mine, shout out to Johnette, she had a lot of wild garlic in her yard that she gave me several bunches, several bulbs. And so these things sticking up here are all the wild garlic that's been planted. And I will say that worked. It greatly reduced the Japanese beetles on my roses. So as I dig this up, if you're wondering what's in the ground, that's what it is, wild garlic. Not a whole lot of roots there. So now I'm going to come in and trim back these canes to quite a bit shorter. and now we'll go transplant it. Well, Mr. Farmer Brown has dug me a hole about 16-inch diameter by 20 inches deep. And now he's using this handy dandy little tool to break it up. Let me show the tool. I've seen one of these. They work great for getting weeds, and this is such hard clay. And now to the bottom of the hole, now that he's gotten that all loosened, I'm going to add about a spade's worth of aged manure. This is black cow. And we mix that in again. Now my roses have been soaking in a bucket of water, the roots, the bare roots, for 24 hours. So the next step is going to be to plant. And there is another special little thing that David Austin Roses recommend in the planting process, and I'll show you that once I go get my rose. Alright, here's my beautiful Bareroot Malvern Hills Rambling Rose. Now, in the booklet that they sent with the roses, it gave planting instructions, and one thing that really thrilled me was it said to use this product to sprinkle it on the roots and in the sides of the hole at planting time. And for any of you that have watched any of my videos, my gardening videos, you already know about this special stuff. This is mycorrhizae, mycorrhizal fungi. I bought theirs just because I didn't have a lot of mine left. Let's see. Theirs is a little more granular. The stuff I buy is a little bit more fine powder. But if you've watched any of my videos from last year, you'll know that when I plant all my plants in the buckets, I put a teaspoon of the mycorrhizae in the bottom of the planting hole. And here we go. They're suggesting to do that on the roots. I love it. So that's what I will do. Holding it over the hole, I'm sprinkling it on the roots. And it's not wasting anything because it's getting down in the hole too. Now the other thing it said was to plant, see where the roots start here? It says to make sure that you plant it 2 to 3 inches below the ground, which is different than like trees. Well, you know, usually wherever the growth point is, you make sure that's sticking up, but 2 to 3 inches buried. This is why you need about a 20-inch hole. To check to make sure that we are 2 to 3 inches below, I'm just going to use this stake. I think I want to turn it this way. Nope, need to go a little deeper. Okay. Right there.
Got it?
Yep, got it. And as terrible as our Alabama red clay soils are, it says to go ahead and backfill it with the dirt that you took out of the hole. You don't add any compost to it. The compost is only at the bottom at the initial planting. Now, watering it in, you need to water slowly, not high volume. And each time you water, at least with a rambler or a climbing rose, you're supposed to add between 3 and 5 gallons of water at a time. So after we get all these planted, we will slowly get them watered in and then mulch over it with some of our pine bark. And hope it grows and flowers. Thanks for watching. And remember, bye and have a good one.